What's up, everybody? We back with catching up with Coach. We have Paul Rodeo Jr. here. Let the people know who Paul is.
Hello, I'm Paul Rodeo Jr. I coach at St. Joe's Hamilton. I came from St. Augustine Prep. My father is the all-time leading winner in wins there, and in actually all of South Jersey. And before that, I actually was helping out with one of my mentors, Coach John Giannini at LaSalle University. So I got a nice little coaching pedigree that I came from, and now I took over as a head coach from St. Joe. I actually can't believe it's been 6 years. So I was helping out over there. Then I went to the prep, and then came from there. And at a really young age, I got the head job at St. Joe, and I've been blessed ever since.
Appreciate everything that you're doing, man. Keep doing big stuff.
Yeah, it's you know how it is. It's a grind, every day, and you know that's what unique thing about coaching is. But it's it's great. That's makes me who I am. When it's just like this quarantine, I find myself not being able to coach or do much. I'm sitting here, I'm playing Candyland, coaching my kids playing Candyland. It's just that fight in me.
That's right. Cool, man. So, with that being said, man, talk about the power of coaching, man, and its influence.
Well, coaching's one of those things that first off, as a coach, there's not many, on the outside. If you win, it's the players. If you lose, it's the coach. But it's more than that. For
Right.
me, the power of coaching is the relationships on a day to day that a lot of people don't see. I'm dealing with different kids with different backgrounds all the time, and you get to see where they come from and what kind of background they have and what kind of influence you can have on them. And a lot of times people see the coaching part on the court, but it's way, 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 way more than that. That's actually probably only about 5%. If you're a real coach and you do those things on a day to day, it's in the lunchroom, it's talking in the late night on the phone, it's right now talking to kids how to get them active, and all that. And I think there's obviously coaches in the college and NBA world that are making millions, but the coaches that aren't making much, like myself and a lot of great coaches, even on that has been on your show, is just that magnitude of where you could find that light in that kid, or how you could change their life. There's no price in anything. That's why I have respect for I'm a teacher too. Teaching's a great thing with that also. So between teaching and coaching, you really have to find that light, and there's no amount of money that gets through that.
Wow, that's awesome stuff. How can you balance coaching and teaching? I always wondered about that dynamic. How does it balance out?
Um, the crazy part with all of it is a lot of times you see these athletes, and a lot of times how they practice is how they are in a classroom, and it's just interesting. Obviously, you're not going to be going completely crazy on a court, and then you do it in a classroom, but it's the same thing. Just like in practice, there's there's like the homework factor, and we always, all the kids and all the students want the grades. Well, all the kids want their playing time on the court. So you dangle that in front of them. And, my biggest thing as a teacher is I always try to say to the kids, even that aren't my players, I said, look, treat it like it's a sport, like you're so motivated with that sport, and treat it like you're beating that test, like you're beating an opponent. And that's just how because I was one that always like daydreamed in class and stuff. So those are the things that used to motivate me. And honestly, it's good. It's funny. My one class I have, it's like 15 kids in it, and 14 of them are my basketball players. And I'm just then I could just kind of be brutal on them. But
Yeah.
no, it's a power to it, just it's an art to it, just like coaching. Um, I think teaching's harder than coaching, to be honest with you.
Wow, I bet, man.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah. So with that, man, how can we what are some character building methods that you use that you think we all can pick up and learn from?
Well, I think when you're coaching, you're always trying to build their character. You're not going to be a good team in any type of age. I don't care if it's AAU, young kids, old kids, college. If you're weak mentally and not a good person, so I always try to challenge everything like we do in life. So everything pertains to life. So for instance, you need to make adverse situations for kids all the time. What I mean by that is every kid wants it, and just like when I was a little younger, everyone wants stuff handed to them. You got to. It's tough because it's a lot of pressure on you, but you need to um, make hard situations. So my two things are always adversity and competing, because in life you're going to go through both. Whether so, me and you are going for a job, we'll shake hands, but we're both going to try to go for that job. So you need to be able to compete. So I don't care if we're doing a shooting drill, I'm making it a competition. And it really shows who wants to be better, who really wants to win. Some people don't want to lose anything. It shows some kids are like, all right, they don't have that edge and what you have to do that. Other kids, like when I do this, I try to make adverse situations. What I mean by that is practice some days with half the lights on. Sometimes make them practice with one shoe. Put them through some things where if they had a bad day collectively as students, you go on the court and you start before you do anything, you're starting with 20 suicides, or, we do things that actually make suicides look easy. And that really starts separating everybody with that. So I'm always saying, character building, you always want to show them what's going to get them ready for life. And that's kind of how I coach.
Awesome. Well, that's good stuff, man. That preparation, and that's one thing that a lot of kids have to be taught, man. Like you said, they're used to having things handed to them.
Yeah.
We as coaches, mentors, and teachers and all that type of stuff, man, we have to challenge them a bit, and it's kind of hard to find that fine balance between challenging them and then not being too harsh on them to the point where their parents are like, what's going on here, or you trying to be a tyrant. And, like sometimes I tell my parents, even on our level, I wouldn't say it's a pseudo type method, but like I tell them, I'm like, listen, when I'm yelling at them or digging in them, in the back of my head as a coach, I'm still kind of like laughing because I'm not really trying to break the kid, but I'm just like, this is going to help him in the long run. I don't hate him. I don't dislike him or her in girl situations. It's just like you said, just put them in a position that's adverse for them to help build them.
And honestly, the parents, like you said, parents are a big part of that, because like a kid could come home and say, oh, coach is this, the coach is that. And, every parent's different, but the ones that want to enable and say, oh, the coach shouldn't be doing that, that's where it's trouble. Only because when they get older, I do it with my son. My son's actually, I'm harder on my son than my daughters. I have 4 kids. And like my son, he's 6 years old. He's a twin. And, he always likes kind of getting in a little trouble. And at 6 years old, he did something wrong, and I made him write a sentence that he wanted to do wrong 50 times. I know it sounds crazy. As a 6-year-old, but let me tell you something. He actually got it done, but little things. And then, like, obviously, then the next day, you don't want to be so hard on him. So it's a balance. One day you're hard, one day you're like, all right, let's be a little more lenient. And I think that's what makes a coach at any level. You really gotta, when you're saying building momentum or character building, I always tell my assistants this, and I learned this from Coach Giannini at LaSalle is you don't come in there like a bull in a china shop and ready to rip everyone's head off. You need to show them that you love them. Once you show them you love them, they'll do anything for you.
Exactly, and that's the truth, and that's key. And also dealing, like in areas like ours where they come from harsh environments, that takes consistently, because even when you do show that you love them and try to be patient with them, they still aren't used to that. So you got to try to build that culture over time. And it can be taxing at times, but for people who are in it for the long haul, man, it definitely works out.
Yeah.
So how can we help kids or just individuals learn how to build from failure?
Well, again, I was one of those when I was kind of growing up, even as a young coach. I always just like, I never really believed in learning from failure, but I learned the hard way. I didn't realize how good I could become or a kid could become until something kind of bad would happen. I never really would have tried. I always wanted to like take, you know what, let me try to get around it this way. Nah, you do got to, unfortunately, that's just it. You learn from failure. I have this one kid on my team, unbelievable talent. And, I'm like, listen, man, I said, I don't care if you miss 100 shots, but you're not going to make any if you don't take them. And,
Yep.
That's kind of the method we're building from it, just like I had one player a couple years ago named Marcellus Ross, leading scorer in the school's history at over 2,000 points. But like what people didn't realize, like he missed 2 big foul shots in a game that we lost, and he must have shot that night. He didn't leave the gym 5,000 foul shots before he left, and learning from that, for me, everyone's different. Me, I don't like to lose in anything. So if
That's
I'm
right.
going to fail you in something as a coach, if I shouldn't have called a timeout there, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do better the next time and try to get that better. Players, how I do it as a team. So say we shot bad free throws the day before. Well, I'll put a minute on the clock and I'll make the scout team foul them in a tough situation. And hey, they may fail for 3 or 4 more times at practice, but eventually that's going to kick in a big game down the stretch. We kept losing to this team, I'm sure, Wild Catholic, and we lost them for about 5 years. And I'm like, wow, every time it was something like that. And everyone to get over that hurdle is we had to do different things that week to learn from it. And a lot of it was learning when we didn't close games in the last 2 minutes. And it was, it's trying because, kids, just like all of us, they don't like when you bring out their flaws. So, again, there's a balance to that too. And, best thing with failure is you don't want to point in a kid's face right after that moment and talk to them like an abused dog ever or something. You want to kind of bring them in and you want to move forward from that moment. I'm a big proponent of letting it happen, let the emotions go away. And either that night or usually the next day of practice, you pull them over and you say, you know what, Marcus, who was one of my best players last year, look, man, did you feel that feeling yesterday? It was the worst feeling in the world. Okay, it's in the past. We're going to learn from that and never feel that again. And that kind of drives them. And, you do different drills and stuff like that. But, yep.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I had to learn from, man. We had a tough loss. We got blew out this year, and like I was so emotional about it that I probably took it a little bit too far with ripping into the team after the loss, and even being emotional with some of the parents afterwards. And I had to learn from that experience, to things that I thought wasn't harsh words in a sense, but you still have to understand. With my age brackets, 11 through 13, you still got to kind of, be a little bit sensitive to the age range. You know what I mean? So I had to learn from that myself.
Yeah, I sometimes it takes them like, and you're sitting there, I'm like, wow, like, did I really have to do it that way, or did I have to say that at that time? And sometimes it happens. Like, I remember we had something after a win, and my biggest thing is after a win, because there's enough losses that come that you want to celebrate the win, and I don't like things that ruin the win. And the kid did something, and I know he did something. I said, I'll just wait till tomorrow, but I had to do it at the end of the game, and I had to go nuts in the locker room. I was like, oh my, I'm so mad at myself, but we're human, and we want to see the best at everybody. It's an emotional sport. Now it's not chess. It's emotional, and that's what people don't understand about coaching any sports. And you have kids even from your age, from 11, could be 21, whatever age is. There's 15 to 17 people's emotions, counting coaches, players, and you're not a real team or a real family if there's not going to be some bickering or whatever it is. So it's part of it.
Yep, that's the truth, man. Good stuff. So with the big picture, man, the community as a whole, with a lot of things that we face, being a lot of adversity and just difference of opinion and people pulling one way, the other want to go the other way, politics and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
we fix things as a whole, man. The big picture, bring the community together.
Well, my whole thing is before you could change everything in one, it's you got to start somewhere. And I'm a big proponent now. I know I'm in a Catholic, I'm in a small school, but
Hmm.
I'm a, and some people, and this is why I never don't care who gets offended when you talk about the Lord, and that's what I don't know how the world could get better if you
Hmm.
got, and a lot of it is these politicians. I don't like how you can't say the word God in this school, or you can't go to this place and pray. That to me is all where the problems start.
That's
When
right.
when you got to worry about offending people from praying to what gave us everything we all have, how can you then, if you're going to do that, there's just you have no chance because with God you have all those abilities, and if you're cutting off the Lord in all these places, then you're not going to be able to change this community in that place, or you know, and that's what I really believe. It may seem like the kind of a crazy answer, but
It's cool.
it's really what I believe. I think it's this whole quarantine thing. It is tough. We're all stationed home. Everyone's getting mad at the governor, and I get it. And that's the easy way to attack people is that. But right before all this happened, and you know it all over social media. Every 5 seconds you see someone complaining they got to go to work or complaining they got to go do this, and
Yep.
oh man, I can't wait to the weekend and blah 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 blah. And then kind of everything stopped, and you could have time to spend time with your family. And I know the virus had, but you could get in touch with the Lord or whatever. And you know what? You know, some people are changing for the better, and some people are not. So once we do that, I think then we could get kind of fix how we all become together. I think especially today with all that craziness going on with the rioting and stuff. I can't speak and all that. I just I was raised one way, and the way was um, really we didn't see color. We weren't raised that way. So to me, I just never understand it, and we're all one, and that's it. We all bleed, red, and that's really it. And once we could do that and help each other, then I think everyone will grow.
Exactly. Yeah, but I appreciate that, man. I share that sentiment, man, because that's what it's all about. You know, people just think it's always one way, and to make rash emotional decisions, and we can't be like that, man, because you can't put everybody in a pot, no matter who it is. So we just have to find like-minded individuals that want to progress forward, and then that's the best way we can get it done.
Yep.
So I thank you, man. I appreciate you taking the time, man.
Listen, I really appreciate. I really enjoy talking with you, and if you have something going forward, don't be afraid to I'm doing nothing nowadays, so you hit me up anytime. I'll definitely come talk to you, and I hope you stay blessed, and I think what you're doing is great, and I'll support you anyway.
Likewise, man. Don't hesitate to hit me up, man. I'll make sure you have all my info. And thank you for coming over, catching up with Coach, man. Have a blessed night.
You too. God bless you, man.
All right, thanks, bro.